I pretty much knew I was dropping out of college at orientation. I remember sitting there listening to a business administrator in the College of Business at the University of Central Florida say something like about 20% of you will actually get a job in your field of study. So you have to compete and do more than what's above and beyond what you're doing in your classes. And the thought I had immediately in that moment, because I was paying for my own college, I had Bright Futures scholarship for my freshman, sophomore year, which I did at Valencia College. And then I went to University of Central Florida. When I was at University of Central Florida, I remember thinking in that moment, so I'm paying you all of this money, these tens of thousands of dollars to get this degree that has a 20% chance of working. Wow. And I remember sitting in an algebra class where I got every single answer on the test right, and I showed all of my work, and I got an F on the test because I didn't do it the way the professor taught me. And so school, I realized very quickly, was not teaching me how to be a leader. It was conditioning me to be a competitive follower, competing for spots that in the world of today with AI seemingly no longer exist. I started my own business while I was in college. It was a basketball company called Hoop Brothers. And I filmed high school basketball games for high school players to help them build their brands and get scholarships for college. Ultimately, I dropped out of college because my business was making enough money to support me at that point that I didn't need the degree, because I was learning so much more outside of my college classes than I was sitting through college classes that to me felt pointless. So at this point in my career, that was about 15 years ago now. I started a college. I started Divergent University, which is an alternative to the traditional college system, which teaches students that are purpose-driven how to start their own business and create their own financial destiny, so to speak, in a way that's outside of having to get a degree and apply for a job. And so I'll break that down a little bit more in this video. But this video is really for you if you feel that college is wasting your time, and here's a couple indicators that it might be. If you feel like sitting through all these prerequisite classes, you're listening and taking tests and going through assignments that you know will never apply in your life and that they won't matter. And so before you can even get to your degree field of study, you have to go through 2 to 3 years of prerequisite classes that to you feel pointless. If you feel like you're not getting experience in your college classes, you could be doing other things with your time that develop your skill set, that develop your experience. If you feel like your college professors aren't experts in the subject matter that they're talking about. I remember when I was in college and I was starting my own business, I was asking my business professors questions about marketing, and none of my business professors had ever run businesses. So I felt like I wasn't learning from someone who had done it. I was learning from someone who was reading the textbook the same way I was. And so if you're also feeling like artificial intelligence is changing education and the AI is doing most of the work, and it can do the work, if the artificial intelligence can do it better than you or can do it for you, it's not worth you learning, because the AI is not going anywhere. And so anyone who's telling you not to use the AI is keeping you in the past, not pushing you into the future. And so there's a scripture that I want to reference here where God is essentially talking about building new things. So this is Isaiah 43:18-19. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. And so we live in a very changing world. With artificial intelligence, we are going to go away from employment in general. People will not have jobs the way that we've perceived that to be for the last 100 years. There will be AI agents that are most of the employees. And so companies will be very small teams of 1 to 10 people. This is already happening with companies that are hiring AI agents that are single founder companies, where you can essentially delegate anything digital to the AI. And so in the new world, you need to learn the skill set to be able to hire AI agents to run your own business so that you can create an asset that makes money rather than trying to apply for a job. It's a completely different paradigm than what we grew up being taught. And it's changing more and more every day and every year. And so it's very important to not try to fit in to the old world, but rather try to become an innovator and a leader in creating the new world, because there's no way we're going back to the world of the past. It's changing more and more every day, and you don't want to prepare yourself to fit into the past. You want to prepare yourself to create the future. Another way you could look at this is the difference between convergent and divergent thinking. The school that I founded is called Divergent University because we focus on divergent thinking. Convergent is getting to set point. So picture 2 plus 2 equals 4. It's a convergent question. There's a single right answer. But a question like, what's my purpose? What's my career going to be? Those are not convergent questions that have a single right answer. They're divergent questions, which just means a question that can spark many creative and unique ideas. And so you need to be able to use divergent thinking to come up with ideas that you can then use the AI to do the convergent thinking to implement what you tell it to do. And so school was created primarily influenced by John D. Rockefeller over 115 years ago to create a nation of workers, not a nation of thinkers. Now we need a nation of thinkers because the workers are going to be automated. And so if you're not prepared to be a leader because your decade of schooling taught you how to be a follower, then you need to shift gears and become a leader, not a follower. So you should skip college or drop out of college if you feel like you have an idea for a business or a brand, even if it's something as simple as a YouTube channel, something that is outside of a traditional job, that is a creative project. You can create that and build that into a career. So if you feel like there's something you want to build or you want to create, college is wasting your time because it's putting you through classes that aren't actually allowing you to develop that skill. If you feel like there's no meaning in your college classes and you're searching for a deeper purpose, if you feel like the culture of the people around you aren't necessarily actually trying to build their future, they're just there to party or they're just there to build friendships, that's fine. But if you really want to create something in your future, if you're really there to learn and to grow, you want to put yourself in environments where you're able to develop a purpose, where you're able to go more deeply into the skill sets that are going to help you build your own business or create your own career, not necessarily go through pointless classes and tests and assignments that the AI can do for you. So I've worked with over 100 students now since 2019. They've all built many different creative projects. Josh started a soap company called Free the Roots, which started as an Instagram page. He built it to 20,000 followers, which celebrated locked hair. Now they're doing over 2 million a year in revenue selling natural soap. CJ started an Instagram page as a pro dunker. He started dunking a basketball and getting booked for appearances. He's now traveled the world, done a Pringles commercial, done NBA halftime shows as a professional dunker. Treston developed a skill set as a videographer, filmed and edited videos. He's now filming for Olympic athletes, runners. He's won awards creating short films. Corey started a website development agency, now implementing AI. Jess started a YouTube channel that became a brand that's now doing 6 figures. These are all creative and different ideas outside of what you would need a traditional degree for. So if you have any idea that you want to cultivate, even if you don't know what that is yet, but you know you want to be an entrepreneur or you want to take responsibility and build something for the future, then college might not be for you because the world is changing so fast and the 4-year degree or 6-year degree track is too slow to keep up with the speed at which the world is changing. And so you might want to consider doing something that would allow you to learn and be prepared for the future more quickly. So that requires some level of faith to move outside of the system and outside of the norm. So I'm going to read you a couple more Bible verses that I think reinforce this. So Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is assurance of things hoped for, a conviction of things not yet seen. So your faith is your ability to act on something that is not certain. There is no certainty in this world. You can think that the path that they've told you as far as get a degree, get a job, get a career, and stay in that path is certain. And the patterns of the past suggest that that's an effective route. But the patterns of the past are ending because of artificial intelligence and its influence on the workforce. So it requires you to move forward in faith to step into the future. Whether you're going to step into the way things have been done or you're going to step into a new way of doing things, both of those choices require you to have faith because we don't know what's coming. And so to step forward, you have to have faith in things that are not seen. Another Bible verse is Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And so if you allow yourself to be conformed into the patterns that the world already has, then you're going to try to fit into what I believe is a dying system. I believe that the corporate structures that hold together the world aren't going to be able to last. And because it's so volatile, the number one thing that you need to build is you. You need to create the skill set and the leadership capacity to be adaptable through a changing world. And so what will certainly last through the change is consistent brands and assets that have staying power. So the Bible is something that has had staying power for thousands of years. There's a reason why people lean on it for stability. So at Divergent University, we teach using divergent thinking, as I mentioned. So one of the ways we do that is with a book. This is one of 9 workbooks we teach called Divergent Business. There's other books that we have on emotional balance, on divergent thinking, and there's 9 total workbooks that we teach at Divergent University. But divergent thinking specifically is about starting. It's about sharing your ideas. It's about figuring out how you take this cloud of ideas and ground it into something that can actually become a career. And then Divergent Business, which is the second trimester of a 9-month program, teaches you how to create a brand, create offers, and really build out a business model based on your purpose-driven ideas. This is different from most entrepreneurship programs, even at traditional colleges, because most entrepreneurship programs or startup incubators are about raising capital. It's about getting an investor to give you a large check so that you can build a big business and then exit that business and everybody gets paid. And this is not that. This is how do you take a purpose, build it into a business or a brand that can last and that you can keep with longevity. It's very different from trying to build a business to get an investment. It's about building a business that is based around your purpose. Investors don't care about your purpose. They care about their wallet, which is fine. But it means that if you're building a business to get an investment, it's inherently against you building a business to pursue your purpose, because your purpose might not be as profitable as something that is designed to make profit. And you can create revenue and create an income, and profit's important, but maximizing for profit is not the same as maximizing for purpose in a sustainable way. And there's ways to build a business model that can be sustainable if you use some of the principles we teach at Divergent University to build a divergent business model. And so whether or not you're interested in Divergent University, there's a few steps you can take if you feel called to skip college. And so step 1 is to create a brand. Come up with a name for your brand and start creating content, whether that's on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok. Create a brand where you're able to start learning the skill set of social media and content creation. And then also start creating an offer. So something that allows you to get paid, something that people can pay you for. It can be a product, it can be a service, it can be a digital offer. There's so much you can do right now with artificial intelligence to create apps or to simplify websites for businesses that already exist. You could offer AI services to businesses if you want to get started, but I highly recommend finding something that you'll be committed to, which means praying about it, finding something that's actually meaningful to you, not just jumping on to start a business that's about money, but starting a business that you believe you'll be able to run for 10, 20, 30 years. And the only way that's going to happen is if you love what you do, not just do it to get paid. So to recap that, start a brand, find an offer. Find an offer you can create that you can get paid for. And you don't want to waste your time. If you feel like you're sitting through college classes, if this video feels like it's more up to the speed that you would like to be learning at, then I highly recommend looking at Divergent University. You can click the link below to apply online. It's a 9-month program. It is fully in person in Orlando, Florida, so we do not offer online classes. We don't believe in true transformation, growth, and development online. And we're building community, we're creating impact. We've worked with over 100 students. So if that's interesting to you, check out Divergent University. But if not, that's also totally fine. Start building your brand today. Start creating offers that you feel like would be aligned for your purpose. If this video is interesting to you, we've got more videos on this channel. There's a video you can check out about the proof of what Divergent University students have done in the past. You can click and check that video out, subscribe to the channel, share this video with somebody you think that needs to hear it, and as always, stay blessed.